Hello and welcome back to River Mountain Homestead, where everybody is excited for a greenhouse. But that is not what we're working on today. I've got several other priorities I got to take care of, and unfortunately, in my opinion, greenhouse growing season is pretty much over for the year, so that's going to be a next year item that's going to be pertinent to us. It's on my list. It's definitely on my list to get taken care of here in the next few weeks to month or whatever. But there's some other priorities I've got to get taken care of around here. The rabbits. I've also got the chicks in the incubator. I think we're down to 16, 17 days waiting on those guys, and I got to finish preparing for them. I got a little knickknacks I got to do, taking care of those guys and having them a grow out spot before they're ready to run with the rest of the chickens around here. Rabbit watering system. That's what we're going to focus on today. I do believe I've got all the pieces. I've had them over there for a little bit of time. I've just not messed with it. I ended up ordering my watering nipples from a place called KW Cages, and it's just a place that I found online, and these are the little watering nipples that I went with. They also sell these PVC. These are 1/2 inch PVC, and they're threaded for the 1/8 inch, which is what this adapts to. So my plan is to drop one of these into each cage on the 1/2 inch line, and then my 1/2 inch line is going to feed up into the 4 inch line, which will actually be the supply tank. And well, it's going to be a lot easier for me to show you than to try to explain it. So I'm going to start putting this thing together. Now, I can't say that this is a pertinent step here, but I'm going to put some silicone sealer on these anyway before I put them in here. Just a little extra insurance, in my opinion. And these just get threaded in here. And we're going to snub them down. They actually seem to have a little bit of a flare to them, so they kind of get tighter as you go. So I don't want to make it as tight as I want it, because I'll split it open if I do. Now what I've done is ensure that I've got the plane level with my pipe. That way, the way the pipe runs across the back and these poke in, they'll have their water right there. So I'm just doing these top 3. I'm not doing the build out cages yet today. I've got plans just to drop my line down and come across and do the same thing. So it'll be real simple to do. But I'm gonna knock out these other 2 right here real quick, and then we'll move over and start putting these in place. I know this kind of looks like chaos, and it absolutely is. And I kind of got an idea rumbling around in my head of how I'm going to do this. I just got to get it all put together. I grabbed what I thought was all the pieces I needed, and this is just my little reminder to you that when you're grabbing your pieces at your hardware store and you think you got everything you need, sometimes people like to put things in the wrong box. And when I grabbed my 1/2 inch tee, I didn't think nothing about it. I looked in the tub, I reached in, I grabbed one, and I threw it in the cart. But then when I got it out and I got ready to use it, it's a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 3/4. So thank you, whoever swapped that out and put that in the wrong box. Thankfully, I keep a plumbing box. And anytime I've ever worked on a plumbing project, I've always got extra fittings, because a lot of these are like 20, 30 cents a piece, and I usually just kind of grab handfuls of what I need when I'm working on a big project, and I go through and use what I need, and then anything left over hits the bucket. So I didn't even check my bucket for this project, I just grabbed what I needed. But I had several 1/2 inch tees. This is just a very common item. So if anybody needs a 1/2 by 1/2 by 3/4, one of them will be in my plumbing box. So a more or less breakdown for you here. This 4 inch line is going to sit just above the 1/2 inch line, and this is basically going to be the tank, the reserve tank that's actually going to hold the water for these rabbits. And it's going to wrap around that corner and go into a field deal, and I'll show you all that in a minute. I've got a 4-inch clean out that I bushinged down to a 1/2 inch with just a couple of fittings here. So this clean out actually goes from 4-inch to what, 2.5 inch. They make these a little bit smaller. I think sometimes you can get a 2, but I couldn't find one at my store, so I went with a 2.5. This 2.5 bushing takes it down to 2 inch down to 1.5 inches, and then 1.5 inch bushing down to a 1/2 inch pipe, and then I'll be able to run my 1/2 inch pipe with this T into that bushing, and that's what's going to fill this line right here. So I'm going to work on hanging this somewhere in this neighborhood so that my line will go inside the cage at about a height of 4 or 5 inches. The 1/2 inch line will actually be setting right in there, and with the little fittings that we just put, these actually will slide right in the hole of this 1/2 inch here, and that'll just be poking in the back of their cage. That way they can't really just lay against it and drain it out and all that kind of stuff, because they probably will try in the summertime. And then I've got some plumbing strap here somewhere to hang this with. So I'm going to cut these pieces, get this strapped up and hung up, and get this piece here, and yada yada. Yeah, I'll kind of speed this up for you, and then I'll show you what I've done. Rough rundown of where we're at so far. I've got my 4-inch tuned down to the number of a 1/2 inch here, and then we're going to have to make sure all this is level, that way everything flows like it needs to. And then I've got one nipple placed right here and slid into the cage for access. I'll probably end up putting some kind of like piece of baling wire or something to make sure that it stays pulled flush to the cage, that way they don't push it out or anything like that. That'll be after it all gets leveled out. And then I'll just cut into this 1/2 inch again for the cage in the center, and then the cage on the end down here. And then of course I capped off this end so that it's not just draining out the end. And now I'm going to connect this 4-inch pipe and strap it on, and we'll speed that up for you. I learned a lesson today that I did not know, and I am not a plumber, so I didn't think I needed to know. But apparently 4-inch pipe is not the same as 4-inch pipe. I had some leftover Schedule 40, and I understand the difference of the thickness of the walls and all that. I get it. But I assumed 4-inch pipe was 4-inch pipe, and I didn't really pay a lot of attention other than price when I grabbed a piece of 4-inch pipe the other day. Because this piece of 4-inch pipe is actually sewer pipe, so it's a little bit thinner walled, which I wasn't worried about being for a rabbit watering system, but the fittings are different. So I do not have the pieces I need to put this together now, as I assumed that I did. So I'm going to need another stick of Schedule 40 4-inch, because 4-inch pipe is not the same as 4-inch pipe. Sounds like Common Core math to me, but whatever floats your boat. I guess it's just a way for suppliers to sell more pieces. That way you got to run both. But I'm going to finish out what I can with the 1/2 inch stuff and go ahead and stub in those and do my turn down to feed the bottom cages. And I'll cut this one piece. I'll need another different cap on it too. Or I'll put this piece on over here. Anyway, I'll finish up with what I have, and that's going to be where I'm going to have to stop until I make another trip to my wonderful Lowe's that is almost 45 minutes away. Yay. Well, that's the end of my fittings for today, but we got 3 nipples running into cages, and I will tie those in, that way they actually stay where I need them to. This is one scrap piece of 4-inch pipe that I had, and I had this 190, and then on my 1/2 inch here I did a turn down. And then on the bottom, it's actually got a threaded cap. That way I can do an easy clean out, so I can open it up and drain the system. And when I do these 3 bottom cages, I can just tap into that 1/2 inch line, put a T on it, and run another line all the way across with the 3 more nipples. And that'll have water to the bottom cages as well. My plan for filling said system will be another piece of pipe extending on this side, coming around the corner, and then there'll actually be a turn up right here, and then you'll just fill in from the top side of that turn up, stick the water hose there, or by the picture, whatever works most convenient for you, and then you can just fill that whole 4-inch pipe. I'll measure it once I get it all put together and figure out exactly how much it'll hold. And then that'll just drain down to the nipples by gravity, and simple. And then my plan for this winter, just like I've got on the travel trailer over there that we ran this last winter, are those heat strips that you can attach to PVC. And I'll put a little bit of insulation around it also, nothing fancy, but put that heat strip on there and I'll be able to plug it in, and then I don't have to worry about it all winter. Everything will stay thawed out. Well, we did good with our heat strips over there this year. We got below 0 there for a couple of days, and I didn't have any problems whatsoever. I had that thin bubble wrap insulation duct taped around the pipe with that heat strip along the bottom. That way it's heating the bottom side of the pipe so that it's not freezing. I'm not going to say that's going to hold for super cold temps, but I feel like for anything that we're normally going to have to deal with here, teens, usually just 20s at night, I shouldn't have to worry about my water freezing on them out here, and then I'll have water for them all the time. So now if I had these 3 grow out cages done, and I just had a text come across the screen, something about rabbit people. Just received notification from the folks that we're getting our rabbits from that the litter that we will be getting most of ours from will be ready within the next couple of weeks. So they were notifying us, giving us a heads up. We are looking at blue and lilac for our colors. So hopefully all goes well in the next couple of weeks. We'll be set up with some rabbits, and maybe by then I'll have this watering system taken care of. And again, that's why I stepped off the greenhouse, knowing that this was kind of drawing near to me. I think this evening we'll be 16 days away before the baby chicks should start hatching. If we have any baby chicks hatch, we're going to keep our fingers crossed for a nice large crop. But I've got an old building that I've got to get here. That'll be my next chicken coop. That'll give us a lot more room, because I know with all these other ones coming along, this little log cabin over here is going to be overwhelmed pretty quick. So I've got a building at our old homestead that I've got to get moved and get down here, and I want to turn it into a chicken coop, and it's a decent sized building, and I can probably house 100 chickens in it, especially if they're just free range and they don't have to have a fence on the outside. And then more than likely this little log cabin will get turned into a silky house, and we'll just house some silkies, and we'll probably extend the yard on it, and they won't free range with the rest. And well, we'll get into that another day. Gotta add some pipe to my list so that I can get this watering stuff finished out and Need to finish these grow out cages is what I need to do, but we'll get to it one of these days. But that's as far as I'm going to get on the waterer today. Hopefully you kind of got an idea of how that's going to work, and hopefully it works like it's supposed to. So if all else fails, guys, we will catch you on the next one.